What's going on? Ooh, I think we are live. And welcome to Arm Wrestling tonight, wherever you may be around the world. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hollywood Mike Connolly is not here to do the big grand introduction, so that is left up to me. And the man on screen tonight is a man that's making his mark on arm wrestling tables, not just here, but around the world. Lachlan Carpenter has been a rising star in the Australian scene for several years now and making a name for himself wherever he goes. You might know him from beating Ryan Bowen at the last T-Series event with AWE, but many of you mightn't be aware as to this man and all of his talents. So it brings me great pleasure to introduce you, Lachlan Carpenter. Lachlan Carpenter, thank you very much for joining us here in Arm Wrestling tonight.
No worries. Thanks for having me. It's a good
No
introduction
worries.
there.
Well, it's wonderful to have you, mate. It's been great to be on the sidelines and watching you as a rising star in the sport. And it's hard to believe that you are still so young. So, for those that are from around the world who might be familiar with the Lachlan Carpenter story, maybe you can fill us in. How old are you? How long have you been training in arm wrestling? And what got you into the sport in the first place?
Yeah, so I'm 26 now. 27 at the end of the year. And I started off just going to the gym with my brother when I was younger. So 15, 16, I don't think you were allowed to go to the gym at 15. So he'd sneak me in and like drop his tag. We do these workouts together. And then it turned into like, you do your gym on top of your for your footy to get you stronger for the season. And it got to the point where I started being like, I was having more fun in the gym than on the footy field. So yeah, then after school it kind of went into powerlifting because I stopped the rugby, didn't have time. Obviously, I was working or going to uni. So I fell in love with powerlifting. I was a national champion under 18s for the was it Powerlifting Australia? And
Wow.
then yeah, I did that for a few years. It kind of gets pretty boring, you're doing the same lifts, bench, squat, deadlift. There's 2 3 hour sessions, lots of rest, and like just a lot of time sitting around talking. And you do 3 4 months of hard work for a 2 kilo PB or something. And it just like got a bit old for me. And I was always watching the. There's a bit of crossover with powerlifting. You see the arm wrestlers, they sneak across your For You page from time to time. You'd see Dennis Saplenkov doing a bicep curl or Devin Lorat like laughing at someone on the table. So I'd watch the WAL videos. Like I found myself watching them over and over. So I remember I watched the Jerry versus Devin match, and I was just like wondering what the hell this is because like I'd arm wrestle people in like before class, and, like on the bins and stuff, and I wasn't that great, but I beat everyone. Like it was close. I wasn't smashing everyone. Then I remember, I think one day I was 22 or something. I wish I fucking went the first time I watched the video because the level I could be at. But then eventually I looked up Sydney arm wrestling and I was like, and it, boom, first thing pops up, Sydney arm wrestling, North Rocks. And I'm like, I live 10 minutes from North Rocks. So it was actually in COVID. So I just messaged it and Oz replied. I was like, oh, can I rock up? He's like, oh, you're probably not supposed to, but yeah, just come through. And then I just thought like, there'd be a couple guys that beat me, because I was a 225 kilo bench presser when I was 22. And I was going for the under 23 national record before COVID hit. I don't think I would have hit it, but I was right around
Wow.
there. And yeah, I rocked up and I was like probably the 20th strongest guy there. I remember little Pete, the 85 kilo Pete was holding me in a hook, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? This doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, I just got obsessed, like chasing people. I was like a ladder. I'd be like, well, 14, now I'm 13, now I'm 12. And yeah, watching all the videos, and I still do watch everything. It's, yeah, truly like out of all the sports I've done, rugby, touch, footy, basketball, arm wrestling is the best sport. Like for me, I found. Yeah.
Wow. And as demoralizing as it might be for somebody who is, well, a national level power lifter to be held in a hook by somebody who's two-thirds of your size, did it also kind of speak to you about the potential that you might have in the sport if you can just get things technically right and pick up on some of that specificity? Did you know you would then have huge potential?
Yeah, a couple of people, like Oz and Adam told me, like, I wasn't like some wicked guy that's going to come in and smash everyone in like a year, but they definitely felt like, I had a lot of potential. I remember I just kept coming. Like I would I couldn't bench. I went from 220 bench. I couldn't bench 60 kilos for 2 months because I was in that much pain. I could barely
Wow.
lift, but I'd force myself to go every week to training and just get a bit better. Once you see the results and the pain starts dropping away, you get really addicted to it. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first super match and who that was?
I think it was Pete.
Oh, it was.
Pete,
Okay.
yeah, and I beat Pete. I did a bit of drastic jumps, I think. I know. Was it, yeah, Pete, and then it was Justin Borg, and then I think I lost to Oz maybe once or twice, and then I think I skipped Oz, lost to Adam a few times, beat Adam finally, then I went back, beat Oz, and then, I've lost to Mario a couple of times. We haven't had a match in like 2 years, so
Okay, and so for a lot of arm wrestling fans, they will know about Mario Tembarkis, and he's obviously been a huge star in the sport over the last 24 months, and now getting a lot of international recognition. But you're very much his training partner. You're his yardstick. You're his benchmark. You're the guy that he goes to find out whether or not all the training's working. So, how does it feel being in that position where Mario is now kind of getting onto the world stage, and you knowing that you're either not that far behind him, or maybe at that level, or even a bit beyond, just depending on the time of day, or what's going on in your respective training regimes.
yeah, he's really been like the measuring stick, more the only real way I can measure because, well, I do pull Adair and Blue, but that's sparingly, and I don't know if they're in the best shape. Whereas I know Mario if he's trained or if he's injured or whatever. But I can base it off how Mario's doing against that, like a Ron Barth or a Plummer, and then I can feel him in training. But like we're so close a lot of the time, it's like there's variables where it's like one of us might be injured, one of us might be like picking for a match or couldn't train as much. So yeah, well, I think we would be a good match for a while. I think the next 6 to 9 months will be pretty close, and it will be interesting to see.
Mario's not the only measuring stick. I get the feeling that Ryan also uses you as a bit of a litmus test, because he, when he does grip up with you, he kind of walks away with the thought of, okay, well, if Lachlan's catching me now, I'm gonna have to train that little bit harder, or maybe it's because I've lost a bit of weight, or maybe Lachlan's now kind of getting into a new phase of strength building. It's really interesting when you see your top guys that are so close, and it really is just how you are on the day that might be the difference between winning and losing, or having the advantage or not.
Yeah, Ryan, when I went up on holidays like a month ago, he pulled me before, was it Tom Holland? And
Yep.
that guy gave him some confidence. But yeah, I've recently found out I went to Mario's physio he was going to because he was messed up with his tricep, his shoulder, and all that. And I've been seeing him. I saw him a couple times already, and it's just like night and day. Like I was messed up. My shoulder, my pec, my rear delt rotator cuff. He was like telling me how messed up it is, and then after 2 sessions, everything's fine. Like he's like, you don't really
Well,
need to come back. Like I booked an hour in, and we did like 30 minutes, and he's like, yeah, you're like there's no real reason. And like as soon as I got on the table, I mean, you can speak to Adam Laura how the difference has been, or Mario, where it's just like I felt like I just couldn't put my power down at all. Like you feel strong in training, all your lifts are good, and you put your arm on the table and it's just going down. You're like, what the hell's going on? But lately, everything, the whole chain is connected, and like my arm's not going down easy anymore. So it's really good. I can actually, put down the power I have, and it's not limited by injury, which has been nice.
Well, it's really interesting that, and I'm seeing that with a lot of, bigger guys. So the super heavyweights, for instance, like Mate Arangi, with Marcus Atirai as well, where almost getting so big and so muscular that it's really hard to remain connected, and to have that sense that everything's working in unison. And so in the end, it translates into this real open arm pulling style where feel super strong here, but just can't keep it nice and close, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
which makes transitioning really difficult. And a lot of that is being all banged up and really tight
yeah,
through the shoulders, through the back area. You see that a lot with the bigger guys, and as soon as they're able to loosen that off and slacken that off, and they can feel connected and tight again, they feel like they're twice as strong. And it sounds like you've had this kind of similar experience there.
Yeah, I just wish I did it sooner. I think, if you're a professional arm wrestler, you're traveling, you don't have to be like a super high level, but if you're training for arm wrestling specifically and you're doing table time, gym lifts and pulley lifts, you should have a physio that knows
Mm,
about arm wrestling. Not just any physio, like one that actually is smart and maybe a bit more expensive, but this guy charges more, but he knows his shit and he'll fix you up. He's working with all the arm wrestlers now, so we gave him a bit of business there.
yeah, well, so yeah, so intraspinatus, supraspinatus, the lat, the delt, the trap, all of that. If you can loosen that off and you can get everything talking to each other,
Yeah.
then it does make a big difference. And Hollywood Matt Connolly has just dropped into the comments. He is
Mhm.
not able to be here tonight. He did have a prior engagement, and he knows that I do struggle with the technical, but he was very kind in leaving me some nice messages so that we could get this all going live for you tonight. So and Lachlan Carpenter, I've been really looking forward to this chat with you, because it's been, like I say, fantastic watching from the sidelines, seeing your progression. Looking back at it now, I had no concept that when we were doing AWE1 a few years ago now, you were so young, and already competing at that top amateur level in the country, making that transition onto the professional stage. And you've really gone from strength to strength, and your profile continues to rise. What are your plans for 2025 and beyond, now that you've settled quite comfortably into that top tier regionally in Australia? One would imagine that through the Oceanic region, you're right there in the top two or three, certainly always in the discussion. But when you're consistently at that level and for a period of time, and when you are young, I know the hunger to do better and is always there. And so does that now mean for you taking the show on the road, going overseas and testing yourself on the international tables?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm 20, like 26 should be like, you're starting, I think for arm wrestling,
You,
24 to 35, that's like your prime years. So you want to be like getting out there as much as you can now that I can actually compete from November 2nd anywhere. So I'm going with Mario to Washington State. There'll be
mhm.
some big names hopefully. And I don't know if I'm about 118 right now. So I'm about that 115, like kind of just a week of like little diet and you'll be 115 and you can bulk back up when you're over there. But I don't know if there's Tim Talmadge is he runs the Arm Sport Entertainment that does the Washington Arizona. I don't know if he'll do a 115 or it'll be 125. So if it's 125, I'll just eat a bit more into it. And if it's only supers, well, I'd rather not pull supers because the size of some of these Americans is like I'm not naturally a super heavyweight. I think because I'm tall, like I'm 6'3.5", but I don't have a long arm. So it's kind of like you kind of gas yourself setting up with all these big 6'7". They have like a whole bunch of like big farmers and stuff. And yeah, I'd rather just pull the 125 or 115 class and then hopefully win both arms because my left is really coming up. I got a big match coming up left in like 7 weeks. I don't know if
Ooh,
that's
okay.
official, but left,
It's not
right.
official. Is this something you can announce? Will this
Oh,
be an Arm Wrestling
fuck
Tonight
yeah.
exclusive, maybe?
Yeah, I'll announce it. Sorry, I was.
Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is an this is an Arm Wrestling Tonight exclusive. Lachlan Carpenter's next big match. We're going to find out who it's with and where we can see it.
So it'll be Sunday, 13th of April in Sydney at the Spartans HQ against Melbourne number one Brett Coots and the left and right arm best of five. Yeah.
Right.
For
So
money, apparently.
what was that date again?
Sunday, 13th of April, I think. Or is it
13th
Saturday?
of
I think it's a
April,
Sunday.
13th of April. So this is going to be very interesting because we've
Double
got
check.
Brett Coots up against Rickard Borman for the AWE left hand belt, and so
So,
this is either going to be for Brett a hope to get back onto the win list, or a consolidation and a chance for you to prove that you are the number one on left arm in the country, depending on what happens at the AWE Grand Prix 3 event here in Adelaide on the 23rd of March. So this is going to be absolutely huge, and it's certainly going to answer some questions. We've been talking up the left arm match between Brett and Rickett as being having international implications. We're going to have both of those men on the podcast on Monday night talking about that match, but to hear that you've got that follow up, which means you're either taking on the champion or you're
Yeah.
taking on somebody who is on the fight to get back on the win list. So and either way, it looks very, very good for Lachlan Carpenter if you can walk away with a win.
Hmm. Is that a new belt? I've never heard of the left arm on the AWE.
It's a new belt. It's the left arm belt. It's
Who
this
has it?
is the left arm title. Well, no one at the
No, no
moment
one has it.
is the answer.
Yeah,
So we were to have
yeah.
Brett versus Rickett on left at AWE Grand Prix 2. So that was going to be a special event. Now Brett came into that a little banged up and injured in the end, and so said, "Look, I'm going to pull the Grand Prix." But I just don't feel comfortable in also pulling Rickett on left. And so Marcus Tirai stepped into the breach and took on Rickett, and Rickett won that one. So whoever was going to win that was going to get a chance again at the next AWE event. And so that is now Rickett versus Brett to answer that question that we hoped to have answered all the way back in October.
I think Brett should have done it that day. Like
Well,
he's
I
just
mean,
giving Rickett more time, but I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Is he swimming against the tide, or is he just picking his timing perfectly? We don't know, and we won't know until the 23rd of March. But really keen to hear what both of those great athletes have to say about their chances on Monday night as they take on each other on the 23rd. And of course, the next conversation on left arm in the country is going to be what happens between you and Brett in April. Now, I did want to talk to you about the Sydney Spartans because you guys just held an absolutely epic event. Your club, the Sydney Spartans, just this weekend gone, where there was, am I right in saying 30 super matches took place on the one night? It looked like there was hundreds of people there. It looked like a
Yeah.
huge event. Can you tell us what about that event and what happened and why it came to be such a massive event in the first place?
So I think it's happened twice now. There was another this Wednesday night or 2 nights ago. There was another like 20 something matches. It's just like Sydney's just
Wow.
blowing up, and there was 30. The end every last Wednesday of the month we do a big super match, but it's been like 10 or 6, and now it's suddenly 30. I think a lot of people like young. We've got a lot of teenagers showing up, like they're seeing all the, I don't know if they're seeing off Larry or Devin or like everyone's finding arm wrestling. It's great. We got so many beginners now.
That's
Yeah,
huge.
it's
And
really
and
good.
so
Yeah.
how many people are now, would you say, are around the Spartans Club now?
Mm, like every week, it's probably at least 40, 45 people now, which is pretty
Huge.
good. Yeah.
Huge.
And,
And when you're having 30 super matches, I'm imagining people are bringing their friends and their girlfriends and
yeah, yeah.
everybody along. It'd be it looked like a real carnival atmosphere there.
No, you can barely squeeze through. There's like 7, 8 tables. They're all full. Yeah, it's great. We just need a few people to go crazy because there's no, well, there's no one where you see them and you're like, oh, like they're coming, like, like, to be a bit of an elitist, but I just want someone to like come up and like just be like, fucking, who are you? I'm gonna beat you and you and you. Everyone's a
Yeah.
bit too nice, I think. I want to see someone who's like, oh, who's the best guy? I want to fuck. Because when I came to the club, I was like, who's the best? And I
Yeah.
just trained with them, and I was like, who's next? I'm gonna beat you, and then I'm gonna beat you next, and then yeah. Maybe I'm a different. I don't know. Maybe the younger kids is a bit different.
Well, I also think that you've come from that really highly competitive environment. You're already performing at a national level as a power lifter. I think when you're at that level, you have a different mindset. You're not going there for fun. You're going there to win. You're going there to
Uh,
test yourself. You're
the
going there
winning's
to
fun.
sharpen your
Yeah,
sword.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I don't even enjoy going to the gym or like all the work you do. I just do it because like of the discipline, and I feel guilty if I don't do it. I love being on the table in the tournament or the super match and then showing everyone what all the work led to. And then, that's the part I enjoy, that's what I train for, to win.
Very, very cool. Well, maybe you can just step us through what a week in training looks like for you. So again, Monday would be bench day naturally. How does your week
No,
look?
I don't even, my program's in my head, which is
Right.
probably a bit abnormal, and I don't have
No, no, I don't think so.
um
I think a lot of people
set
like that.
it's a lot of feel. So, whatever's not sore, I'll kind of train. If everything's wrecked, I might just stay home, or I'll do like a blood flow work, light reps. Like I kind of do chest tries together, I try to do back buys together, and then I'll do like a shoulder JM day. So then I'll rotate those three arm wrestling kind of workouts. I'll
Yeah.
train heavy. I'll do 1 minute rest, simulate like the rounds for a match, and I'll do 8 to 12 reps, 5 exercises, and 5 sets. So 5 sets of 5 exercises, 8 to 12 reps. I'll change it up. I'll change the order of the exercises. I'll change the reps of the exercises. And I know in my head, like if I'm getting stronger, what weights I've been doing in the past. And then I'll do table time once a fortnight. I found if you do it weekly, it kind of messes you up too much if you go too crazy. Because I like to pull like Mario or Adam. I'll use bands with Adam, or I'll pull Mario really hard. So you don't want to like feel shit all week. Because I'll do a couple table specific days with either Mario or Adam. So we'll use like train Todd Hutchings style, like peg to peg side pressure, and then we'll do accessories with like for your wrists and pronation. And yeah, that's working out pretty well at the moment. Just doing it intuitively and off the feel of how your body is. Yeah.
I have to agree with the siren on this occasion. I didn't hear anything about legs day really. Not a big feature.
Yeah, I thought people would pick up on that. I'm like, yeah, yeah. There's a legs in there. There's somewhere. It's between I don't know. You have to look closely in the program. It's hidden somewhere.
Well, we're going to just quickly go through the comments here, Lachlan, and see what the good people in the world of the internet have to say. Evening, gents, from the Siren, from the Titans Arm Wrestling Club. We understand that your air conditioning is not working very well there, Lachlan. So
Yeah.
we've only got a short time to go. We don't want you losing any weight, just in case. We can't have you losing any strength there. And Dave, I'm going to have to do the bicycle. Let's just see if I can get that there. It's not
Way
Connolly levels, is it? No,
old man strength there.
it's not bad. Maybe we can get. Maybe we can get a little bit of tricep. I think it's not bad. Anyway, but we'll get Lachlan to show his. Maybe that might be best. We'll close the show
Oh,
out with that. There we go. That's what we're coming for. Look at that. Look at that. Very
yeah,
impressive delt development. Actually, I will say.
yeah.
It's a fantastic feature of your physique. I'd have him. That's Josh Barker, of
I'd
course.
have him,
Big.
but you can't beat Adam. That'll piss him off.
Oh yeah. So how did that go?
Oh, no, you didn't do it.
Okay, well, that's sad. Of course, Hollywood Matt Connolly jumped in just to let us know that his
Love
technical
it, Josh.
assistance was going great. Josh's my physio name is BPC.
You need
We
both.
Daintiest Arm Wrestling, of course, is Taron Broad. By any other name, he is one of the stars who will be performing at AWE Grand Prix 3, 85 kilos for the middleweight title. He is the favourite. He is seated number one. Hey, Lockie and Dave. Really looking forward to seeing that young man back on the AWE table. Unfortunately, fell sick just before the last event. Of course, he's one of these guys that's always got to bulk up in order to compete against the big guys, but on this occasion will be the big guy, maybe the biggest man on the table in terms of musculature on the day. So I think the Siren's had her answer question there. She's got a couple now. Double bicep poses might just be why she's tuning in. So we'll keep her happy. Skipping legs, of course, to the comments on
Uh,
Lachlan's regime. No one's become a better arm wrestler by doing legs. We know that, of course, and walking in the gym doesn't
they're
count
for
as
walking.
legs day. That is true. It doesn't count, but it might be about as much as most arm wrestlers do in terms of training their legs. Actually, I've been riding a bike the last few days and just noticed a little bit of musculature getting in there. So There you go. Maybe just a little bit of a cheap way of doing it if you really have to. So, Lachlan Carpenter, we've got 2025 ahead. You are heading overseas, of course. Those events over there, they're in a tournament format, so it's always interesting to see how you're going against a wide array of athletes at various levels. But you're always going to come across a big name or two whenever you're going to Washington States or any of those events over there. And of course, I'm sure you're going to stumble across a few people that are going to be at that
There's
level who
always
can
one.
test your metal. Is there anyone you're hoping not to meet in the first round or two over there?
Oh, I want to pull Corey West.
Or
No, he rocks up to some of the US tournaments. Fuck yeah. He's here. I haven't pulled Devon, of course. So Corey West is probably the strongest person I've ever gripped in my life. But I've only pulled Derek Smith, Lockie, and Corey. So it's just the size of his hand is just ridiculous. I've never felt someone you as soon as you pull them, uh, you're instantly this. Like it's just boom, like supinated
Mm.
instantly because his cup and is so strong in his drag. He just does this. And you're like, oh, and it's kind of there. And his left's even better than his right. But I just want to verse someone where it shocks people, and I want to beat them like an Andre Sharkovich or anyone, anyone on that
Yeah.
high level where it's like, holy shit. And then you've made significant gains because everyone's surprised. That's what I want.
Well, mate, you're right there and in the conversation. I'm sure the phone will be ringing very, very soon. Some of the top promoters in the world have been tuning into the podcast. Many of them are already familiar with you and what you've done. And I'm sure there'll be many more wanting to see you performing on their stages across the world. So I'm really looking forward to that as a Lachlan Carpenter fan. I can honestly say I've almost been there since the beginning now. I've seen you grow as an athlete, seen you grow as a human being too. You're just looking
Yeah.
bigger and stronger every time I see you. It really is absolutely outstanding. Your discipline, your hard work in the gym, and on the training tables is certainly paying dividends, mate. So keep up the great work. We love seeing you succeed and can't wait to see you do really well overseas.
Thank you. Too
Absolutely
kind, mate.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to all those people that have been tuning into Arm Wrestling Tonight over the last couple of months now. It's your 5 night a week, half-hour dose of all things arm wrestling, where we bring you some of the best up-and-coming talent from around the country and around the world. And to all those people that join us in the comments every night, thank you very much to all of you. Thank you to Franz. Thank you to Taryn. Thank you to Josh. We love you all and can't wait to see you again on Monday night. And Monday night will be featuring Brett Coots and Rickett Borman, the AWE heavyweight champion, who will be competing on left arm to decide who is the AWE left arm super heavyweight champion. And on Tuesday night, continuing the South African theme, we're going to have Terence Opperman and my attempt at Afrikaans. So stay tuned for that on
One
Tuesday night.
question.
Yes.
One question. If Brett wins, he gets the belt. I beat
Mm.
him, but it's not an AWE. I don't get the belt, do I?
No, you just get to brag that you beat him. But what we
Uh,
will have to do then, of course, is bring you onto the AWE stage and
to rematch.
and for the match, absolutely, and put it under the big bright lights, because there's one
Hmm.
thing that's for sure, and that is that the AWE stage is going to be somewhere where the talent is going to want to be in 2025 and beyond. We've got some big plans. We absolutely can't wait to make these announcements, but there are huge things in the works and conversations happening even just today. So stay tuned to that. We can't wait to share more with you when it's all appropriate and legal for us to do so, but it will mean uh, bigger audiences, more mainstream coverage, and ultimately helping all of our athletes do what our mantra has been from the absolute beginning, which is helping arm wrestlers go pro and make arm wrestling their full-time job. And if we can make that happen for the arm wrestlers, not just in this country, but around the world, then we feel like we're doing the whole community a great service. So we feel we're that close. We're that close now, Lachlan. I'd love to see the day where you don't have to worry about a
Cool.
day job, and your day job is turning up and not doing legs. That's what it is. Not
Sure,
doing leg
sure.
day, just
That
anything
would be
but leg
cool.
day
Yeah.
and on the table. That's all we want to see. So we can't wait to see that for everybody. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in again. We'll look forward to seeing you all on Monday. This is Arm Wrestling Tonight. I'm Dave Sobridge. This has been Lachlan Carpenter. We'll see you all soon.